Okay, welcome aboard and welcome back. Last week we downloaded the Zibo Mod and a couple of associated plugins, the Naviagraph and the Terrain Radar. Of course we could have carried on without those plugins, but they add extra functionality and some more immersion, and that's basically a definition of a plugin really, something that can add a little bit more functionality and immersion for the game. And so we're going to look at some more plugins today. Some are free or donationware, and some are payware, but they're all optional. So the first one we're going to look at today is the Better Pushback. That's a free or donationware, and to get to the page to download you have to go to a GitHub link, and I'll put the link in the description below, and or you can just type in this one here, and then just click on the Better Pushback zip. So once that's downloaded, what we're going to do is extract it and then put it in the resources stroke plugins folder like we did last week. So let's click on that and extract it. So let's open up the folder for Explain 11, and we want resources, plugins, and I'll just go back, and then I'm going to put the Better Pushback into plugins, and there it is. Okay, so let's open Explain 11 and see what we can do with it. So here we are at Prestwick in the Zibo Mod. The engines are running and we're ready to go. All we need now is Pushback to get us off the apron. So what do is we go to the our electronic flight bag here, we click on ground services, and now we can see Better Pushback is available. So we click on that, and the first thing we need to do is to pre-plan our pushback. So we click on that, and using your mouse and your scroll wheel you can turn the aircraft position. I think that'll be about right, and then you click left click and then press enter.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledge. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Okay, so that's been accepted. Got our park brake on. You'll be asking us to turn those off. So we now request pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Here he comes. So if we push us back, and we'll be going off in that direction down to the runway. So the tug goes around the nose wheel, and then with some contraption lifts the aircraft up, which you'll notice as the front of the aircraft rises slightly.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So the aircraft's rising.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
parking brake.
Starting pushback. Operation complete. Set parking brake. Disconnecting tow. Stand by. Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
So we should see him coming up on the right, showing us the bypass pin, and then we're free to taxi out for takeoff. Okay, we give him a wave, and away we go. So that's a better pushback. I think that's worth downloading. So let's look at something else. Okay, what I want to look at now is the Naviagraph plugin that we looked at last week. I want to show you how to import some charts into it, the free way, and then I want to show you how to associate it with a Naviagraph subscription. So let's download a couple of charts to start with. If you go to Google, just Google Nats charts and look at the one here, just click on that. And then if we go to Presswick, and if we look at this SID, Standard Instrument Departure Chart, and download it and put it into a folder of your choice. I'm going to put it into charts here and save that. Okay, and now I'm going to look at another chart. If you put in Skyvector, which is a very good website, we'll be looking at that again, I'm sure, in the future. And if you go to this one here, St. Louis, this is in America. Just to zoom in, St. Louis, if you right click on St. Louis there, and if you go down to the bottom, you should find some charts, and we'll have the ILS for runway 11 there. Okay, if we download that, again put that into our charts. Okay, if we search for, let's bring that down to show you. We go to explain 11, your resources, plugins, Naviagraph, and then we got the charts folder here. We find our charts folder. Okay, you copy both of those and go back to charts and paste in. Just make sure they're there. Okay. Now if we open Explain. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a look on the electronic flight bag. We click on Navitab and chart, then we can see that our charts are in here. So let's look at this one here. We can zoom in and we can, this is our chart for the ILS into St. Louis in America. If we go back, we X that, that's the way to do it, and click on this one. So this one needs rotating, so you can rotate here. Okay, I think that's the right way up, yep. So this is the SID out of Prestwick, and you can zoom in, read all the details, and so that's quite good. So next week we'll be looking at SimBrief, which is a flight planning website, free website online, and we'll be importing some charts from that as well into our Navitab. Something I'd recommend is the Naviagraph subscription. You can get the charts and the latest AirAC data each month, and if you don't know what that is, that's this is here what it is here. It's aeronautical information is constantly changing, airspace structures and routes are revised, navigation aids change, SIDS and stars are amended, and so when we look at our flight management system on our Zibo, each month we can get the latest AirAC and update that. And also it can you can import it into a couple of other applications as well, which is quite useful. So in addition to that, you obviously get the charts and Naviagraph charts, and they use Jeppesen, which are really good. And you can also get the moving map, so you can actually see where you are on the charts. So price at the moment, let's have a look at products. There's a variety of prices. So if you want just the charts, it's 75 euros a year. If you want just the FMS data, like the AirAC data, that's 31 euros a year. Or if you want both, you can pay 89 euros a year, or what I do is the 9.96 euros a month, which works out roughly about £9. I think I paid £8.99 this month. So you get both, and you get the charts and the FMS data. So you just join up to that, and then I can show you how to incorporate that into your Naviatab. Okay, so to link a Naviagraph subscription to your Naviatab, if you go up to the plugins and drop down to Naviatab and click on Toggle Tablet, you'll see the Naviagraph icon in the corner there. You just click on that and then link Naviagraph account. So once you've linked your Naviagraph account, so X that and then go over to your Naviatab now, and if you open airports, if we type in EGPK, press enter, you'll now see we've got another icon here, this one here. So we click on that and we now got some charts. If we click on airport and parking, parking. We can see some charts of the terminals here, and you can set up several in a tab at the top, which is quite useful. So if we click on the airport, and you can actually see where we're parked. This is the moving map, and if we now taxied, you would see yourself moving out to the runway. And again, if you let's go back, find departure, a SID. So again, here we are. We're actually on the map, on the map for the SID here. And once we took off, we would follow one of these SIDs here, and you actually see where you are on the map. So I recommend that you get that if you can afford it. So this is the nav data, and you can see that I've already updated mine to the current one, which is 1904, and so this is current from 28th of March to the 24th of April 2019, and so that would be all the updated SIDs and stars and routes, etc., which is quite good. And again, you can incorporate that AirAC into other applications as well, including the sim brief, which we'll be looking at next week. So that's another look at Avitab for charts, the free version and the Naviagraph version if you want to follow that route. So let's have a look at something else. Okay, I want to have a look at now as a plugin for the runway awareness and advisory system that you can get. So it gives you lots of different warnings at different stages of flight to prevent accidents in the real life, and you can get something similar to for your simulator, so gives it more immersion, and you might find it useful, prevent you making a silly mistake, especially if you're flying on something like Pilot Edge or VATSIM. So if you go to this website, again I'll put the link in the description below. Again, it's freeware, or you can make a donation if you wish. So we'll download this and put this in our plugins folder. So on the download page, if you scroll down a little way, you'll find a really good video that demonstrates all the different things it can do. So I recommend that you have a look at that before downloading. Okay, so I've extracted it. I'm now going to paste it into plugins. And we just make sure it's there. So we've now got the RAAS system there, along with our others that we've already done. So let's open Explain and see what it can do. So here we are, we're back in the Zibo Mod. I've taxied out from the pushback position where we were before. I've not set up the aircraft or configured it in any way, just to demonstrate a little bit of the RAAS. So if you now go up to the drop-down box, plugin drop-down box, find RAAS and click on configuration, you'll find there's a whole load of different settings and configurations that you can adjust to suit your heart's content, basically. So it's pretty powerful in that respect. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that video on the actual web page, which shows all the different things it can do. But let's see what happens if we taxi out to runway here.
Approaching 1, 2. On runway 1, 2, flaps, flaps.
Okay, so we've got 3 warnings there. We've got the approach warning, the warning that we were actually on the runway and to tell us what runway we're on, and also that I'd stupidly forgotten to put any flaps down. So that's three different things it can do, but it can do a whole load more. Okay, so that's a demonstration of the RAAS. So let's have a look at something else. Okay, this week I just want to look at this one finally. This is Xcamera, a payware plugin, and it describes itself as a replacement camera system that lets you define multiple view categories and multiple views within those categories that are associated with specific aircraft. So if you're wondering how people do those marvelous views, almost like movies, they're probably using something like this. So if that's something that interests you, then this might be a plugin that you might want to purchase. For what we're going to do, I think the in-house camera positions is quite adequate, but again, this is something that you might consider buying yourself and making some of these marvelous views that you can see on the screen. So if I was you, I'd have a look at the video in full and then make a decision. Okay, I'll just show you how it looks like when it's actually in X-Plane. Okay, so here we are in X-Plane, and if you go to your plugins as normal, you'll find your X-Camera once you've installed it, and you just go to your control panel, and here you can see all the different things that you can do to set it up. So I won't go through it because there's a lot to it, and it might not be something that you would want, but it's an option. It can give you some of those marvelous cinematic views that you saw on the video. I'll put the link to in the description below, and you can have a look yourself and see if you fancy it. So I think that's it for this week on plugins. In the future we'll be downloading one for Pilot Edge or VATSIM, and you'll need that to communicate with the different systems, but we'll do that when we come to it. For the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think I'm going to be looking at SimBrief, the flight planning free web page. We'll be going through that, and as we go through it, we'll have to cover things like weight and balance, and routing, and inputting data into your CDU for that's the computer display unit for the flight management system, and so it will link into several other areas. So I'm envisaging it's going to take about 2 or 3 weeks, perhaps even more. So hope to see you next week.